First, the man accused of killing Duke graduate student Angela Risi and seriously injuring her roommate has pleaded guilty to those crimes.
The 33-year-old Stephon Dubose shot the women 2.5 years ago and just last week accepted a plea deal from the state. WRO Investigates Sarah Kruger spoke with the student's father about the outcome.
Angela Risi was 30 years old. She was a dance student at Duke University. She loved life. She loved to move. She loved to create, and the people around her loved her right back. And on one night in October, all of that was taken from her over a single word: no. When the clock strikes midnight, the truth comes out. I'm 12 a.m. crime, and every single day I bring you real cases of domestic violence that turn deadly. The stories the system tried to bury, the victims who deserve justice. If you're about that raw, unfiltered truth, hit subscribe. New case drops every day at midnight. Don't sleep on justice. This is 12 a.m. crime. Angela grew up in California. She was the kind of person who carried light into a room. Not because she was loud or showy, but because she was genuinely warm, thoughtful, brilliant. The people who knew her felt it. She went through San Diego State University, and after she graduated, she spent 5 years in Chicago. She worked in the humanities department at the University of Chicago. 5 years. She built a life there, learned the craft, stayed focused, and then she applied to Duke University's MFA program in dance, one of the most respected programs in the country. She got in. Her father, Matteo, said she was thrilled, like genuinely thrilled. This was the place she wanted to be, and she made it there on her own. Ballet, creative dance, even circus arts. Angela had wide-ranging interests, and Duke was where she was going to bring all of it together. She finished her first year. She was halfway through her second. By all accounts, she was exactly where she was supposed to be in life. Now, somewhere along the way, Angela started seeing a man named Stephon Dubose. He was 32 at the time. They were in a relationship, and on the surface, things moved the way relationships do. But there was something about the way Dubose saw things, the way he needed things, that was going to become the center of everything that happened next. He wanted Angela to be exclusively his. She didn't want that. And for a long time, that tension just sat there, quiet, until it didn't. October 2nd, 2023, Durham, North Carolina. Angela and Stephon were in his car together, and at some point during that drive, the conversation turned into an argument. Dubose brought it up again, the relationship. He wanted it to be exclusive. Angela said no. That's it. That was the disagreement. She told him no, and she meant it. So Angela did what any person in that situation would do. She left. She went home. She went to her place on Worth Street in East Durham, the home she shared with a roommate. She was done with the conversation. She was moving on. Stephon Dubose did not move on. He followed her. And what he did when he got there: I need you to stay with me, because this is where it gets heavy. Angela got to her home on Worth Street. She was inside. She was safe, or she thought she was. Stephon Dubose showed up at that door, and he did not knock. He did not wait. He barged in. Angela ran. She ran through the house, trying to get away from him, and Dubose chased her, inside her own home, the place where she slept, where she studied, where she lived her life. He chased her through it, and then he pulled out a 9mm handgun. He fired 11 rounds. 11. 8 of those rounds hit Angela, and one of them hit her in the face. Now, I need you to sit with that for a second. This was not an accident. This was not a moment of confusion. This man pulled a gun on a woman who had done nothing to him except tell him no, and he shot her 8 times. Angela was rushed to the hospital. But she did not make it. She was pronounced dead, and Dubose was not done. After he shot Angela, he did not leave. He did not run. He walked into the bedroom of Angela's roommate, a young woman who had nothing to do with any of this. Nothing at all. She was just living there. She was just home that night. He shot her 3 times. She survived, but she is permanently disabled. That woman's life was changed forever, and she didn't even have a part in this. So what? She was just there. That's all it took. After he shot the roommate, Dubose left the house on Worth Street. And where did he go? He went to his family's home, not far away, on Tranquil Road. And when he got there, he stabbed himself. When officers arrived, Dubose told them exactly what he had done. He said he shot a woman in the face. He said he wasn't going back to prison. And he said he couldn't live anymore. Make it make sense. He took a life. He permanently changed another person's life. And in that same moment, he was thinking about himself. Durham police responded to Worth Street in the early hours of that morning. When they got there, they found Angela, already gone. They found her roommate, wounded but alive. And they found a crime scene that told a very clear story. 11 rounds fired, 8 of them landing on Angela, 3 on the roommate, a 9mm handgun. This was not a scene that left detectives guessing. The evidence was right there, laid out in that house, and Dubose had already made it easy for them. He didn't hide. He didn't flee the state. He didn't disappear. He went to his family's home, hurt himself, and then told responding officers exactly what happened. By the time the sun came up on October 2nd, Durham police already knew who did this, and they already knew why. A neighbor who lived near Worth Street, someone who also served on the city council, told reporters something that stuck. They said they had heard arguments between Angela and Dubose in the days leading up to that night. Arguments that people around them could hear, and after everything came out, that neighbor said something that just stays with you. They said, "No one deserves to be killed for differences like that." No one. Not Angela. Not anyone. The investigation moved quickly because there was nowhere for this to go except forward. The man who did this was already in custody. The facts were already known. What was left was the court. And that's where this story picks up next.
Stephon Dubose could have faced life in prison. Instead, he took a plea deal here that gives him anywhere between 35 and 44 years. Angela Risi's dad says the family accepts that outcome. Primarily, they want to make sure their daughter is remembered. A vibrant, smart young woman who loved to dance and loved life. That's how Matteo Risi remembers his only daughter, Angela.
At her celebration of life, there were well over 200 people who attended.
2.5 years have passed since police say Dubose shot and killed Risi and injured her roommate in their East Durham home. Risi was in her 2nd year working toward a Master of Fine Arts at Duke. Now, Dubose has pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree murder and attempted murder. Risi says the outcome is acceptable for him and for his wife.
Mainly because we won't be around when he gets out of prison.
In the court hearing last week, Risi says they finally learned a motive.
The district attorney explained that he had wanted an exclusive relationship with Angela, and she didn't want that. Shot her 8 times. Even more amazing is he then burst into the bedroom of Angela's roommate and shot her 3 times.
Risi says he will never forgive him, yet he does not dwell on that, instead keeping the focus on his daughter.
And she was an extraordinary young woman. We miss her very much.
There's a hearing scheduled here for next month. That is for the judge to approve the plea deal. Risi's dad says he plans to fly out from California to be here for that. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Durham.
Stephon Dubose was taken into custody that same night. He was held without bond, meaning he was not getting out, not before trial, not before anything. He was sitting in that cell with exactly what he had done. Now, 2.5 years passed before this went to court. 2.5 years. And when it did, Dubose did not fight it. He did not stand up in that courtroom and try to tell a different story. He pleaded guilty. Second-degree murder for the killing of Angela Risi. Attempted murder for the shooting of her roommate. He could have faced life in prison. Instead, he took a plea deal. 35 to 44 years. That is the number the court put on Angela's life. 35 to 44 years. And then, if he lives long enough, he walks out. It was during that court hearing that the family finally learned the official motive from the district attorney. Dubose wanted an exclusive relationship with Angela. She said no. And that was it. That was the reason. A woman lost her life. Another woman lost the ability to live hers the way she was supposed to. And the reason was that simple, that small, that petty. Angela's father, Mateo, flew in from California to be there. He sat in that courtroom and he listened to all of it. And when reporters asked him how he felt about the outcome, he was honest. He said the family accepts it. Anyways, the truth is, the outcome was never really going to bring Angela back. Nothing was. But Mateo said something that made it clear where his head was at. He said, mainly because we won't be around when he gets out of prison. Think about that. He is not worried about what Dubose does when he walks free. He is saying that by the time that day comes, he and his wife will be gone. They are not going to have to see it. They are not going to have to share a world with the man who took their daughter. That is not peace. That is just the reality of what happened to them. Dubose is sitting in that cell. Right now, sentencing is still pending. A hearing is scheduled for the judge to formally approve the plea deal, but the outcome, for all practical purposes, has already been decided. Over 200 people showed up to Angela Risi's celebration of life. 200 people who knew her, who loved her, who felt what the world lost when she was gone. Duke University's Director of Graduate Studies in the Dance MFA program put it simply. They said, Angela's kindness and deep intelligence were evident to all who were fortunate enough to work with her, and her father, Mateo, said it the way only a father can. He said, and she was an extraordinary young woman. We miss her very much. Moving on from something like this is not really a thing. You don't move on. You just learn to carry it. Angela's family is carrying it. Her roommate is carrying it. Permanently disabled. Her life rearranged by a man who had no reason to ever touch her. The people at Duke who worked with Angela every day are carrying it. And Stephon Dubose is sitting in a cell, behind a plea deal, because he could not handle the word no. Angela Risi was 30 years old. She was a dance student. She was brilliant. She was kind. She was loved. And she deserved so much more than the way this story ended. That is Angela Risi's story. And sadly, it is not the only one. This is what happens when someone decides that they own another person. That a no is not an answer. That love is something you take, not something you earn. If you or someone you know is going through something like this, please reach out. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-7-997-233. They are there for you, any time of day or night. If this story hit you, share it. Let someone else hear it. Because the more we talk about it, the harder it is to ignore. I will be back. Stay safe out there.